So for R&R, we typically hold the pose for several minutes, sometimes 10, 15 minutes. It's more of an opening, releasing practice, restorative practice. But today we're gonna start with a little more movement and then we'll come into our hold. So find yourself seated. If you wanna bring a blanket under your sit bones to elevate the hips above the knees, that might be nice, or sit on a bolster. This can even be done if you're sitting at a chair. You just want a natural curve with the spine. And I want you to think about what your pelvis is doing in space. So we want it to be, that was exactly what I wanted. Your pelvis to be planted in neutral or center of it. And oftentimes we sit at the heel of our butt. So further back, we kind of like, if you think like a couch, we like tuck ourselves in, you like hang back, lean back. And so we're trying to get out of that. And cross-legged, that might mean kind of tilting and tucking, or even with your feet on the mat or on the ground and sitting in a chair, you can tilt and tuck. Do that just a few times, breathing in and out. And then now that you've found your boundaries, the parameters of the space, let's find the middle. Feel your sit bones plug in to the surface beneath you. Your crown reach in opposition. Let's draw those shoulders over the hips. Let them fall gently. And then if you have a block on each side of yourself, you can bring that to help kind of elevate here. We're gonna bring ourselves into the side bend, so left hand down, right arm up. Use the exhale to bend. This might feel nice, okay, where you're feeling a little bit supported but staying elevated. And then start to pull that right shoulder back as you inhale, look up. And as you exhale, bring that right shoulder forward and look down. Do that 3 more times. Inhale, up and back. Exhale, forward and down. Long breath in. It doesn't have to be big movements. Okay, long breath out. Last one, right shoulder back, inhale. As you exhale, bring that right shoulder down and forward, your right hand to your left knee. Inhale, reach that left arm up. And as you exhale, bring it up and over to your right knee. Cross your arms. And then a gentle tuck in, that tuck of the tailbone, tuck of the chin in. Open up the back, breathe in. As you breathe out, sit up tall, bring your arms around you. So your left arm's on top of your right, reach your elbows forward and your shoulder blades back, breathe in. Maybe walk those fingers back a little further, breathe out. And finally, you'll inhale. Reach the arms apart and across, stretch them out, and exhale up. And we'll take this opposite. If you're cross-legged, let's just get the other leg in front. Give yourself a couple tuck and tilts. Okay, find that center. And the right hand will come down. Maybe it's elevated on the block so you can sit a little taller. Reach the left arm up, breathe in, and use the exhale to breathe out. Use the exhale to bend as you breathe out. Drawing that left shoulder back. Looking up as you inhale. And then exhale, bringing it forward and down. Inhale. Adding those on, 4 of these total. Exhale forward. Notice where your gaze goes, how that affects the sensations, the stretch. Exhaling. Finding these movements flowing, even, breathing in. On your next breath out, you'll bring that left hand forward onto that right knee. Inhale, reach your right arm up, as if you're about to side bend, and exhale, bring it over to your left knee. Now, your right arm's on top, you can tuck your chin and open up the back. Try to get the palms onto your knees like balls fit into a mitt fits around a ball. Grab a hold and create a little leverage. Separate your shoulder blades, tuck your chin in, breathe in. And as you breathe out, soften. Let's sit up tall, right arm on top of left. Breathing and reach your elbows forward and your shoulder blades back. Take a nice long breath out. One more inhale. Walk those fingers back a little further. Exhale. And then inhale, let's reach those arms apart. And exhale, let them down. And again, you might have those blocks in it. This feels really good today to stay up a little bit taller. Keep my hands away from the ground. The idea is to feel grounded and supported in these poses as much as we can. So add props in, take them out. You'll drop your left ear to your left shoulder. Inhale. Keep the collarbone broad, and as you exhale, drop chin to chest. Roll right ear to right shoulder. Breathe in to the left side of the neck. And then breathe out, dropping them forward. Keep rolling, taking inhale, left ear, left shoulder. Notice if they want to come forward, draw them open and apart. As you breathe out, bringing it down through the middle and over to your right. Take that inhale. Notice where you're sitting on your butt. So if you're further back, or if you're starting to tilt, which might be it, right where you're pointing it back, try to come back to neutral. Exhale through center. One more time each side. Maybe 2 more times if that feels right. Great work, everyone. You'll take it through center as you exhale. Bring your palms behind your head, interlacing your fingers, and gently just, it's like you're adding a little tactile pressure to encourage the chin towards the chest. Bring your elbows forward and down. Breathe into the back of your neck, from the top of your shoulders up to the base of your skull. Exhale here. Let your hands fall down, and then inhale, slowly lift the head up. Okay. We're going to take our first pose. It's going to be a fish pose. I'm going to suggest 1 or 2 blankets. It's going to be perpendicular to the spine and just underneath the arms. So your blanket, I'm going to go with a slightly taller variation. So I'm going to suggest 2 blankets maybe, a 2 blanket back bend. More of a fold than a roll, okay? And then you'll just decide for yourself, and this might look like 1.5 blankets. You might even take your blanket up and over, so you've got a little place for your head to rest as well. And it may not be so tall. You can adjust the length, and that's what I really love about blankets. When you come onto your back for this pose, okay, the back of your heart is on the blanket. The arms are up and over, and this should help really open up the collarbone and something, and a bit around the shoulder heads as well. You're gonna take your feet a little further apart. And if it's a lot for your head, the chin will tilt up slightly, okay? That's normal. I do want support for your head. And so if you need to bring that up, you can always bring another blanket or fold the end of it under the back of the head. And the arms will come out to the side. So it's really a splay open, which is opposite of our pose of the week, that fold in child's pose. So we take fish, supporting fish. We'll be here for quite a bit. If you wander off in that time, which you probably will, be generous with yourself, come back slowly. The part of the practice is, getting distracted. And every time we come back, that's our application of practice. That's our application of, intentional presence. Take your nice long breath in. Once you're there, a full breath out. Eyes closed. Just notice what the breath does, where the inhale goes. You can even observe it as it climbs up into the collarbone, the top of the ribs, the shoulder, the very top of your lungs. Exhale. I'm gonna hold the space for us. I'll check in with you every few minutes, but if you ever feel any numbness or tingliness, any sensation where pain will be obvious, it's like the flea feeling, gotta go now. You'll make your way out, but otherwise, it's that meeting of discomfort. The urge to check how long you've been or what time it is. See if you can set those things aside every time they come up. Notice the pace of your breath, where you wandered off to. A gentle acknowledgement, and that practice of coming back. So take note of the ground beneath you, the prop supporting you. Sounds or music. You can exaggerate the breath from the belly into the collarbone for the inhale, like taking advantage of this heart opening, front body expanding shape. Your inhale might even be longer than your exhale as you take on this pose. So, or it might be in reverse. Notice where you are, how you're feeling. Be patient with it. You've been here for some time. Notice anything that's stayed the same. Do you lay here? Any sensations in the body, any energies, any experiences? And then consider what's changed. This week, as we talk the idea of being progressive, to build on this month's or this season's theme of the collective, forward thinking, future minded, and evolving. Noticing how this feels after some time. What's the progress of this pose? Where did you feel it most? Where did you feel it shift? Let's take our last 5 breaths to scan the body, make our mental notes, and see if we can do so without judgment too, right? We don't have to categorize them as good or bad or right or wrong. Just noticing, allowing it to be. Last big inhale from your belly all the way into your chest, your collarbone, expand, expand, expand. And then exhale, let it all out, let it go. A long, soft sigh. We'll be real cautious as we come out of this. And my hope is for you to come all the way onto your stomachs. So first you'll come onto one side. You can walk the feet in and kind of move those blankets out from underneath you. And then last week we worked on Crocodile Pose. So it was a stomach forward, but that was our resting pose. I want you to just kind of find that fingers interlace, head can rest on the back of the hands. And you don't even have to turn your toes out. You can just keep your feet at neutral, tops of the feet, kind of like in Cobra or Up Dog. But work your way with the props aside onto your stomachs and just lay down, elbows out towards the edges, head resting on your hands. And take a neutral spine for a few breaths. Breathe in. Breathe out. Another long breath in. Exhale like you're fogging up a mirror. Just gently sigh it out. Taking that time, that long exhale. And we're going to take, I think we call it scorpion stretch in some of the other classes, maybe like Swift. But we're going to do a shoulder opener. It's like a prone twist. It's a twist on your stomach. And what you'll want to do is reach your, we're going to start on the right side. So let's reach our right arm directly out of our shoulder. Okay, so your arm is perpendicular to your spine, coming out of the shoulder. Your left hand is going to plant by your chest, and then your right ear is going to plant on the ground. So you're looking away from your long arm. You're looking in the opposite direction, and you're going to press that left hand into the ground and lift your left leg up and over the right leg to get the foot to plant behind the right leg. Yes, that's it, Sarah. You got it. This will help open up that right shoulder. You've got a few options now. You can come onto your left fingertips. Okay, see how that feels. Start to pull that left shoulder back a little bit by pressing the left fingertips down. Feel your shoulder blades slightly together. Inhale, reach that left arm up to the ceiling. You can turn that palm to face behind you, and then sweep that left forearm behind your low back, bending the elbow. The forearm will sweep behind your back.
Now gently press your forearm into your back. Feel around your left shoulder, engage, and then pull the front of that left shoulder back. Yeah, and now you might slide that left forearm down a little bit, and one more time, breathe in, press forearm back, draw shoulder back. Stay here, 2 more cycles of breath. You're opening the pecs around the shoulder on that right. If you've got that half bind, let's inhale, reach that left arm up. And exhale, set the left palm by the face. Inhale, slowly roll onto your stomach. And exhale, let's just switch sides. So your left arm will go out and your left ear will come down. Your right palm will plant by your chest. And you'll lift that right leg up and over the left leg. Trying to get the sole of the foot down and the knee up. And take a couple breaths to check in. How's this feel? What's this side? What's this experience? And then notice if you'd like to progress the shape. Moving onto your fingertips, pulling the shoulder back. You can reach the arm up and turn the palm behind you. You can stay right there. You can sweep that forearm behind the back. Press the forearm gently into the low back, encouraging that right shoulder to come back. You have your options. And it might mean keeping that right hand right on the ground. Take 3 more rounds breath. Breathe in space in front of that left shoulder, the chest, the pecs. As you exhale, soften. Notice where you're clenching, gripping, holding. Breathe in. If you've got that half bind, reach that right arm up and set it down by the face as you breathe out. Inhale onto your stomachs. And exhale, just settle down. We're gonna prep for child's pose. I did say, a table or a chair might be helpful. Why we have all the props in this is child's pose can be a lot. It can be a lot on those hip flexors, on the knee joint. So you can give yourself as much space as you need to come out of as deep of a compression in the knees. A chair is useful. You bring it in front of you. You can bring your blanket to the edge. You can bring your blocks under your sit bone. And it might mean 1 or 2 blocks even, okay? And then you'll start to fold forward. So how deep you go into this, right? The closer your hips are to the ground, the more sensation in the quads, the hip flexors, the knees. And you can kind of keep evolving that. We're not here in this pose for nearly as long as we were in fish. We don't usually hold folds for quite that long. So you can do that. You have, what my personal favorite is on the ground, if you don't have like a table or chair to use, just stacking up your blocks, okay? You can have a blanket or a pillow. I like a good bolster on top. And maybe one block a little higher up, the one that's further away from you than the one that's closest to you. Straddling the blocks, the props with your legs, bending the knees right for child pose, and then resting. And I'll let you know about a halfway mark if you're resting on an ear, so you can switch to the other side. And you'll pick which way you want to settle in. However many props, it just might be like 1 bolster or 1 pillow that you're laying your upper body on along the length of your spine. Try to keep your head in line with your heart. If it drops a little lower, no big deal. You're not working with any props at all. But we're here for several minutes, so get comfortable. This is one of those, again, you might feel some of that tingliness. If you are having that, you can come out for a few breaths and then go back in. But I'm hopeful we won't
Won't be there that long. So remember, you can take this pose a little more elevated. You can take this into a really deep fold, depending on what your daily activities are, what your body's used to, any injuries. The progression of this pose over time may look different. It might. Progressive thinking is to be inclusive in its thinking, considering all points, right? And that's that Aquarius quality of what is the best version of the future for the whole, taking all of the information, all of the concepts into consideration. So pick for yourself with all of the props what you need today, given what you know about your practice in this pose. Notice where the breath goes naturally. A lot of our lungs are behind us, so you may, in the back body, right? So exaggerating that inhale. Notice where your mind wants to linger, if it's with a specific sensation or experience. Let's turn our head in the opposite direction if you haven't already. Let's take your last 5, 7 cycles of breath. And then slowly, as you inhale, you'll start to bring your spine back up, coming off of your props. Yeah, moving them aside, lifting the head up. Let your legs come out long. Okay, shake them out. Turn the toes in and out, kind of let that blood flow back down to the feet. You might have been resting right on the top of your feet. Your knees were bent, so we're really compressed. Let that flow, the blood flow more easily. And we're gonna take pigeon on our back, and I moved up to the camera a little bit so you could see this clearly. We're gonna do pigeon on our backs, and I wanna quickly show you the progression of this shape with the focus this week, and you'll pick which place like you land on this. So when we come onto our backs, right, we'll build pigeon like we do from figure 4, and this might be right where you land. Okay. You can have soft flexion in the foot. You can have really active flexion. Depends on how much you want to do there.
You can take the binds, you can press the leg away, or I'm gonna offer you to scoop your shin, your calves, into your elbows, okay? So what happens after that, I like to bring my foot down. We're not gonna focus as much on this as we are on the hip. And then we talked about a little bit of head and shoulders. Your arm closest to your knee. So I'm on my right leg, my right arm will unthread. I'll reach up, back behind my head for my shoulder blade on the opposite side, and then you have to lift your head and twist a little bit. So you maybe can lock hands here. And then you can lean the head back. And this is good for the shoulders. This is good for the neck. And I'm feeling quite a bit in my right hip in this pose. If you really want to go for that left hamstring, you can start to straighten that left leg. So you're a long leg on the ground. You will pick where you land on this, and know that it doesn't have to look a specific way to be the pose. And if you're like, I would rather do this on my stomach, then pick that version. So come onto your backs. Let's start with the feet planted, head and shoulders on the ground. We're not going to hold this for quite that long. Okay, we're going to take Shavasana next. Bring your right ankle across your left thigh, and then bring your left thigh towards your upper body. As you do that, kind of decide for yourself, okay, you're going to just hang tight here, maybe snake the hands around that left leg, and you can straighten the left leg, grab behind the thigh, or you can even grab the shin. You can unsnake that right hand and press the palm against the inner right knee and push it slightly forward. You can even rock here a little, okay? Those of you ready to go on, you're gonna scoop that your right leg, your right shin into your elbows, your elbow creases. And then you're going, like you're cradling something there in your arms, it's your leg, okay? You're gonna unsnake your right hand once again, reach it up and back behind you and towards your left shoulder. Whether your left foot or your left leg's on the ground, you're gonna lift your head and heart a little bit, turn to your right slightly, and see if you can get that left hand with the ankle in the crease to find the right hand. And if you find them, just locking your fingers into one another. So curling your fingers so right and left hand can lock. You can now start to lean your head back a little bit into your right elbow crease. Breathe in, breathe out wherever you are, whatever the shape looks like, whatever you picking for yourself. We're going to take about 5 more cycles of breath. So 5 inhales and exhales. And notice what happens with each breath as you hold the pose. You get one breath closer to the end. You get one breath deeper into this pose, this side, this experience. Notice where you're clenching, you're gripping, where you can let go. Finally, that last cycle of breath. You got the bind, you'll start to release it. Inhale, reach that right arm up. You exhale, you're gonna just set that left foot down on the ground, help that right ankle off, be gentle off that left thigh, and set the right foot down. Let your arms rest beside you. A micro tuck in your chin, take a deep breath in. And a full breath out. Okay, allowing this next side to be its own experience. Let's walk our feet in, bending our knees, or if your legs were long. Cross left ankle on top of your right thigh. And then bring that right thigh towards the upper body. How much you flex the left toes is up to you. Grab a hold that left thigh bone, maybe stick around there. You can take that left palm and press it against the inside of that left knee and find a version there. You can even rock a little bit and stay put. Or you'll start to scoop your left shin into your elbow creases. Your right arm's gonna stay where it is. You're gonna unsnake that left arm. You're gonna reach it up and back behind your head. For your right shoulder, you're gonna inhale, lift your head and shoulders, turning to your left slightly, seeing if your fingers might meet. And as you breathe out, you can lock the hands and let the head kind of hang back like in a hammock in that left arm. By no means do you have to get here. This is just the progression of a pose. There's always somewhere to go with the yoga practice, right? There's always another degree, another to our evolution of it, whether it be physical or energetic or a mental experience. So find where you're taking your steps to, and then just hold the breathe. This is a little more active than we would normally be in this class for this, but taking the supine version of Pigeon can really feel nice sometimes, and it asks us a little more effort to get there. And we've also hopefully hit everything we were hoping to: hips, shoulders, and neck. Take a deep breath in, a full breath out, a couple more of those. If you've got that bind, you'll start to inhale, release your left fingers. So you exhale, set your right foot down, help that left ankle off the left, or that right leg, set the foot down. Let's walk the feet apart, let the knees buckle in. Give yourself a hug around the chest with the arms, inhale. Exhale, soften, reach the opposite arm on top, take a nice deep breath in. And exhale. And then slowly settle into your Shavasana. We'll be here shorter than typically in a restorative class, but I'm gonna hold this space for us for the next about 4 minutes. So make it yours, make it comfortable. And settle in. Do you have a ritual in this pose? Is there a way you prefer this practice? Is there a way you approach endings? Just noticing these things as you find rest and stillness. Your breath. See if you can soften the muscles, the tissue around the bones. The normal places we carry our tension: the navel, the core, the jaw, the shoulders, the forehead, the eyebrows. Let's start by paying attention to the breath. And what occurs as you observe it? Does it grow longer? Does it grow more balanced? And let's spread our awareness to the rest of the body, down to our toes, to the feet, the ankles, turning them in and out, pointing and flexing, rolling out to our fingers and our wrists, the neck, head, shoulders. Maybe taking the head from side to side, reaching the arms overhead. Whatever your progression, your ritual, your practice of returning, and take that for yourself. Take the next few breaths to work through it. And then eventually, from your backs onto your side, from your side up to seated. And allow the palms to meet over the heart, with the chin dipped towards the chest. Gratitude here for your practice. And this ancient practice, which slowly brings us back moment after moment, time after time, to all that we are, right where we are. Bowing forward to seal the practice. Namaste.